powered by Honda Elevate and Reliance Terra.
More than 1,200 Israelis murdered by Hamas terrorists in the 5-day war. "40 babies slaughtered," kibbutz witnesses the worst ever massacre at the hands of Hamas mercenaries. Hamas continues to shell Israeli cities. Republic cameras capture rocket attacks in Sderot. Israel continues to hit Hamas terror targets. Hamas military head's house hit by Israeli forces. The only power plant in Gaza shuts down after running out of fuel as Israel continues to retaliate. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with opposition leaders, agreed to form an emergency unity government. Team Republic continues with its fearless reporting as missile strikes continue on Gaza border. Good evening and welcome, friends, to this Wednesday edition of Burning Question. We in the morning had a news report coming out in which former National Security Advisor of India during UPA 2, Shiv Shankar Menon, who was also in fact Foreign Secretary of the country before he became National Security Advisor, took a very clear position that what the Modi government has done in terms of its response and reactions to the dastardly terror attack by Hamas on Israel is the right thing to do. It was exactly opposite of the equivocation we have seen from the grand old party, the Congress, the government of which Shiv Shankar Menon in fact served as the National Security Advisor. The interesting thing is why the Congress took the position that it took. Let's look at this package and then I come back to discuss.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister Modi responded immediately by expressing his shock at these terrorist attacks and by saying that we stand in solidarity with Israel.
And that's a little different from most of the global south, is that right?
It is indeed. It's, I think, most of the global south, China, Russia, others have spoken about the need for restraint on both sides and tried to make balanced sort of statement.
This is Shiv Shankar Menon, the National Security Advisor during the UPA regime, who also served as India's Foreign Secretary. The UPA regime, NSA, has backed Prime Minister Modi on Israel war.
Frankly, this is a case where Israel has been attacked by terrorism. And so, from my point of view, I think what Prime Minister Modi said is correct. This is the right reaction, I think. You can't equate both sides when one side is the victim and the other is the attacker.
Adding to this, Menon applauded Modi government's foreign policy.
I don't see anybody attack. I think many people have supported what the Congress party has said. Many people have stated that the Congress party has not forgotten its ideological position. The Congress party has condemned the attacks on Israeli civilians. So I don't see anybody attacking. I find many people glad that in this day and age, Congress party has remained true to its ideological position.
BJP has taken on Congress over the party's statement backing Palestine and said that there are striking similarities with statements of Pakistan and Taliban. Responding to Himanta, Congress defended itself by saying that many have supported what the Congress has said. With the UPA-era NSA speaking, shouldn't Congress realize that sympathizing with terrorists for appeasement politics will backfire? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
All right, welcome back, friends. Joining me to have this conversation on whether the Congress party has done something which is not appreciated or not found in consonance even by those who served the government of the Congress under UPA 2, Shiv Shankar Menon being the National Security Advisor between 2010 and 2014 till the time that the UPA was in power, led by the Congress Party. Joining me, Sardar R.P. Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP. He's joining us live from Delhi. I also have Nikhil Jain, advocate and political analyst. He leans towards the Congress Party. He's joining us live from Delhi. We also have Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist. He is joining via Skype. He, of course, leans against the BJP. And we also have Dr. Lubna Kamal, activist. She's joining us live from Lucknow. Obviously, not agreeing with the position that the Narendra Modi government has taken. I would want to begin with Ashok Sajjanhar, senior diplomat. If he has joined us and if PCR can help me get him on the window. Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, he's joining us live from Delhi. I believe he's still to join us, so let me take this to Lubna Kamal. Lubna Kamal, we had Congress Party in its resolution, and which we have discussed day before yesterday, mentioning Palestine, mentioning that their concerns need to be addressed, the core issue as it were needs to be addressed, absolutely silent on the terror attack. And here we have National Security Advisor of the then UPA government, Shiv Shankar Menon. He's saying that what the Modi government has done is absolutely right. So is the Congress Party just being convenient with its politics in taking the kind of position it has taken? Lubna Kamal.
See, I do not belong to any political party. Therefore, I would want to say that what is most important is the human rights, their violation and their preservation. When something happens to Kashmiri Pandits, we all are crying. The Britishers also call, the Indians, the Britishers also used to call them terrorists. But were the Indian terrorists defending their own land? Were they Indian terrorists? No, definitely. So stop this politicization of the issue. Do you even know how many Palestinians have been killed? Of course, there have been casualties on both the sides, the Israelis and the Palestinians both. But the number of Palestinians definitely outnumber. So let us just stick to human rights first, and then only discuss the whole political whatever you are discussing. Let's just talk about the human rights violation.
Okay, Lubna Kamal, I'll come back to you. I wanted to actually open with Ashok Sajjanhar, and I have got him finally. Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, I want to understand the diplomatic position from you. You have been part of the craft of diplomacy. Shiv Shankar Menon saying what the Modi government has done is right, while the Congress Party taking a very equivocating, balancing kind of position. On day one, of course, they condemned the terror attack carried out by Hamas on Israel. But then in the Congress Working Committee resolution, the Congress Party was absolutely mum. You think while the Modi government has really ended the hypocrisy that India sort of practiced under Nehruvian influence vis-a-vis its relationship with Israel, the Congress Party continues somehow to live with its past, and that's the reason why the kind of resolution that came in the CWC?
I really would not be in a position to say why the resolution came in the way it did. I can only say what the government has said, what the government has done. And I think the government has spoken, Abhishek, very unequivocally, very unambiguously, very clearly. It has pronounced its stand against terrorism. India itself has been a victim of terror for a long, long time. And for here to sort of, fudge our words, or to be cautious, or to be, not very clear about it, or be equivocal, be ambiguous about this. I think that was not required. And I'm very happy that Prime Minister Modi He was one of the first leaders to condemn terrorism. We have always been maintaining, Abhishek, from all international fora, whether it is the UN Security Council or any of the multilateral fora, that there cannot be any rationale for terrorism. There cannot be, we have to have zero tolerance for terrorism. No reason, no any type of manifestation of terrorism that has to be condemned. And this is exactly what the Prime Minister has done. I think India's position as far as the Palestine issue is concerned is very clear, and there is no change as far as that is concerned. Also, we need to recognize that, the position of the Hamas who have attacked Israel, their ideological position is that they want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy all the Jews. They want to kill all the Jews. Now, there have been human rights violations here. I think whenever there are reprisals that take place, I think as far as Israel is concerned, they make certain that as far as ordinary human beings are concerned, that they are impacted as little as possible, and that they are targeting basically the activists as far as the Hamas are concerned. The final point, Abhishek, I want to make here is, let us not conflate Hamas with Palestine. They do not represent the Palestinians. They do not represent the Palestinian Authority. And we need to be very mindful of that. That's a terrorist organization. It has carried out a terrorist attack. And I think the Indian government has been very right in condemning it in no uncertain terms. Abhishek.
Okay, let me now just open it up. Nikhil Jain, is Congress party then, if Shiv Shankar Menon says what he said, that Narendra Modi was absolutely right with that reaction and the Modi government has been absolutely bang on in its understanding of Israel, did the Congress party then stand accused, and I'm making that accusation, of showing anxiety about its Muslim vote bank? It's pandering to the Muslim street.
Absolutely.
With the kind of position it has taken in CWC.
Absolutely not, Abhishek. Absolutely not. So see, the Congress party first made an official press release condemning the attacks. Then the Congress party's official resolution talks about the right of self-determination of the people of Palestine. And as the ambassador very rightly mentioned, that Palestine and Hamas are not to be conflated together. They are two different things. One is a terrorist organization. One is.
But the Congress party seems to be doing that. Exactly that. Congress party seems to be doing exactly that.
No.
It is absolutely silent on Israel. Not a mention of Hamas. Not one mention of Hamas.
No, not at all. Abhishek, not at all. As the Congress party mentioned Hamas in its resolution, it is not. It has merely stood for the right of the Palestinians of self-determination.
It seems to be suggesting that this would not have happened had Israel sorted out the Palestine issue.
You are trying to find some narrative in that. That is not what the Congress party has said. The people of Palestine need protection from Hamas as well as from the Israeli forces who have time and again killed civilians, just the same way that Hamas is killing civilians in Israel right now. Both the things are wrong, and the people of Palestine as well as the people of Israel deserve the right to live peacefully. And anybody who's warmongering, saying what Hamas has done in Israel is good, or what Israel used to do in Palestine was good, is a warmonger. He is trying to advocate for a crime against humanity. And the Congress party's position is very clear on these things, that they always stand for the right of self-determination of people. They always stand for peace. They always stand for, at the same time, for maintaining non-aligned relations where we may have a conflict of interests. The Modi government during the Russia and Ukraine war, it did not outrightly support Ukraine, did not outrightly support Russia. It took a very balanced, very diplomatic line, and a lot of people in the country applauded the Modi government for it. And the same could possibly be have done today. But if somebody like Shiv Shankar Menon feels that what the Modi government has done today is right, I am nobody to question that. I'm not an expert in that domain. Ambassador Saab on the debate right now agrees that the Modi government stand is right. Shiv Shankar Menon has said that. And the Congress party has nowhere said that the stand taken by the Modi government is wrong. Okay. It has merely in its CWC resolution iterated its long-standing ideological position. You don't pass a CWC resolution on a news event. You can't be condemning every single thing by a CWC resolution.
It's about
a press release, which they did.
It's about it's about the timing, Nikhil Jain. Ashutosh Mishra. The fact of the matter is that when a terror attack is panning out, when thousand plus now have been killed with the kind of brutality, inhumanity, barbarity, is this the time really to be talking about Palestine is the question. And in that context, the reaction has to be very clear that this is not the moment to be talking about sorting the Palestine issue. It is about punishing Hamas and these cowardly terrorists. That's the issue which we are discussing, Ashutosh. And perhaps the Congress party was not up to it in terms of owning up this fact that you can't equate terrorism with a long-standing, perhaps millennia-old issue.
So the first thing here is that Hamas has been condemned by everyone unequivocally across the world, and that includes the Congress party. And then when you start quoting a Shiv Shankar Menon, a bureaucrat, to hide your unbalanced view, because Palestine is a long existing problem. And if you remember, in 1977, the then foreign minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee had called Israel Akramanakari, people who have occupied the lands of the Arabs, and said that they will have to one day vacate it. So it's a problem that exists. It will not go away if you, like an ostrich, put your head in the sand and say that Hamas is the problem. So let Israel kill Palestinians in Gaza. The UN has said that what Israel is doing in Gaza right now is against international human rights laws. What else do you want? You cannot say that if you want to take out your anger on a terrorist organization on the people of Gaza, that's unfair. That's as good as being Hamas. Hamas attacked Israeli citizens, and now you are attacking and killing Palestinians. So what's the difference between the two governments? And you have to remember
did the Hamas terrorists bother whether they are killing civilians or military personnel? Did the Hamas bother whether they are maiming children and not military targets? Did the Hamas bother about these things?
And that is the difference between a terrorist organization
and also, more importantly, did Vajpayee, Ashutosh Mishra, let me complete. Did Vajpayee make that comment within 2 days of a major terror attack?
He is trying to subvert the judiciary in his country. Netanyahu is trying to subvert judiciary in his country. Netanyahu is trying to subvert
we are nobody, Ashutosh Mishra.
And he is using this to sort of
cover
up his failures and
Ashutosh,
his autocratic state.
Don't jump from one issue to another.
No, this is the matter of the fact. That's
okay, let's not jump from one issue to another.
That is why today you have to
Ashutosh Mishra.
You don't have to condone his actions.
Ashutosh Mishra, we are not discussing the career of Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's not jump from one issue to another, number one. Number two, we are not discussing the internal politics of Israel. RP Singh, number one, Ashutosh Mishra, Vajpayee did not, make that comment 2 days after a major terrorist strike, and that was 40 years ago. So you can't quote out of context. But let me take this to RP Singh. RP Singh, it's been almost 36 hours since this Vajpayee quote has been thrown by the opposition at the BJP, at the Modi government. How do you respond?
Well, Abhishek, let's understand, is the DNA of the Congress? You can't help with this. I mean, the DNA will keep coming up again and again. We remember Digvijay Singh saying Osama bin Laden was said he glorified Osama bin Laden as Osama G, Zakir Naik as the saint of peace. Oh, I remember Salman Khurshid. He is on record saying that tears kept rolling of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi because of the Batla House. She saw the picture of Batla House terrorists. So that's what Congress is. I mean, there's nothing new. I mean, Afzal Guru, people who said Bharat Tere Tukde Honge and people who supported Afzal Guru are part of the Congress mainframe today. So what do you expect from them? But let's understand what's happening. There's a Gaza Strip and there's a West Bank. West Bank is managed. Did I interrupt anyone? Did I interrupt anyone or did I? So there is a Gaza Strip and the West Bank. West Bank is managed by Palestinian Authority. Gaza Strip has been hijacked virtually by checking out the Palestinian Authority and is being managed by Hamas. Now, people of Palestine has elected Hamas, so that's the problem. And then Hamas is a terror organization not because of this activity they have done. It has been named as terror organization much before this. And then what has happened there? They are all supporting that. I mean, how children were put in cage. Have you ever seen? I never, in my 62 year of age, I never seen children being put in cage, or like animals, or women being raped, or the throats being slit. And now they are threatening, we'll do it again, and we'll showcase this to on the social media and to the media that we are slitting the throat of the people. I mean, do you see any reason in it? So if Israel want to take care of them, or want to destroy the places where they are operating from, there's nothing wrong in it. I mean, if they have some spots where they have kept all these arms and ammunitions, Israel has all the right to attack that. And we did it when it was Pakistan occupied Kashmir. When we did surgical strike, Congress made similar noises. Oh, prove the how, ye sab karo. And when we did air strike, also that time they were asking proofs. But that's how the Congress is. They will support terror for vote bank. They can go to any extent to support terror for vote bank, and then they are doing so. For them, vote bank is more important than anything else. And by doing so, they think they can gather some votes. I'm sorry. The Indian Muslims are not going with the terror attack. Okay. They are not leaving aside few, but majority of the Muslims are not in favor of the terror attack. Neither they are in favor of the terrorists.
Right. I'm afraid Muslims are obviously not in favor of a terror attack, but somehow the Muslim street has been very soft and approving of what Hamas has done on Saturday. I'll go to Lubna, but before that, Nikhil Jain, since Ashutosh Mishra threw Vajpayee and went back in history on this issue, I'll push it a little further. Let me take it to 1947. Einstein, Albert Einstein, the famous scientist, he wrote a letter to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And that's where the seed, insofar as Congress party position goes, lies. Einstein wrote the letter on June 13th, 1947, suggesting to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru that please agree with the recognition of Israel or accept Israel as a member of the Committee of Nations, or let India, and remember this was June, which means India was still to become independent. And he was, as prospective Prime Minister, Einstein was appealing to Pandit Nehru that let Israel be accepted as a nation state. You know what Pandit Nehru wrote back? He said, nations need to be selfish. We have our interests as of now with the Arab world. And that's why we are not going to recognize Israel, which we did not. In fact, in 1949, the Nehru government went on to deny Israel the membership of the United Nations. That's the history we are talking about, perhaps giving Congress party the position it has. Now the hypocrisy part is, Nikhil, and the correction that has been done by the Modi government, partly corrected by the non-Gandhi Prime Minister or non-Nehru, non-Gandhi Prime Minister of the Congress party by establishing full diplomatic relationship, which was done by P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1992. Now, my question is, Nikhil, that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru would not accept Israel as a nation because of the Arab sentiment and by proxy the Muslim sentiment in India. But the same Nehru government had no problem taking support, military support from Israel in 1962. And then subsequently in every major war India has had, 65, 71, 1999, there has been tremendous amount of military support, strategic support coming in, defense support coming in from Israel. It has been a very durable, enduring, dependable ally in India's national security affairs, India's security, overall security. So if Narendra Modi has corrected that hypocrisy, why should the Congress party not also evolve its position?
Abhishek, it is not about hypocrisy. That is how diplomacy is. Tell me this. What Hamas is doing in Israel, how is it very different from what Russia did in Ukraine? But how did the Indian government react to that? Russia and Ukraine, we tried to make a balanced position and we've been buying oil from Russia.
Are you
despite
sure?
so many international sanctions. Hold on.
Are you
Let me
sure?
just make the point. Let me
Are you
just
sure?
make the
Let me
point
take.
after your
Are you
5-minute
sure?
history lesson.
Are you
Let
sure?
me at
Are
least
you
make
sure
the
that
point.
what
Let
Hamas
me
did in
at least
Israel
make the
is same as
point.
what Russia has done in
I
Ukraine?
am not saying it is the same. I am saying it is very similar. Bombarding residential buildings, killing civilians, brutally killing them. Yes, the rape angle may or may not have been there. I'm not quite sure. But what Russia did in Ukraine was completely brutal
That's stretching
and was a
things too
crime
far.
against humanity.
That's stretching things too far.
What are you saying, Abhishek? They have been bombarding residential buildings. The entire world saw that. What Russia did to Ukraine was a crime against humanity, yet we took a balanced position.
Can I
We
take
have
this
been
to
buying
Ambassador
Russian
Sajjan
oil.
Har?
And nobody is saying,
Since you are finding
Abhishek,
some
let me at
kind
least
of similarity, if not full,
Let me at least
between
complete my
the
point.
situation
Let me
in
at least
Hamas
complete my point. First of
and
all, your team
Israel
needs to correct the banner.
with
First
Ukraine
of
and
all,
Russia,
wait.
let me take this
First
to
of all,
Ambassador Sajjan Har. I'll come back to you.
First of all, your team needs to correct the banner.
I'll come back to you. You made a point. Let me get the expert opinion on this. You made a point. Let me get the expert opinion on this. We have a senior diplomat with us, Ambassador Sajjan Har. This kind of comparison between what Hamas has done to Israel with what Russia is doing in Ukraine, is it really even, should we even bother about this? I mean, is this even comparable?
Yeah, sorry, Abhishek.
Ambassador Sajjan Har, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I've unmuted myself.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, so, the way I look at it is that these two situations are totally dissimilar, because on one side you have Russia, which is a member of the international community. It is a sovereign country, a sovereign nation. On the other side, you have Hamas, which is ostensibly a terrorist organization. It is not any state entity. It is not even recognized as a political party, let alone represent a state. And the sort of heinous crimes that it has committed, whatever Russia might be doing as far as Ukraine is concerned, it has always been saying that it will not, it will not destroy the infrastructure. It will not destroy the civilian infrastructure as far as schools are concerned, as far as hospitals are concerned, creches are concerned. It will not do anything to harm the ordinary people. And, when the civilian infrastructure has been destroyed, has been hit, it says because the Ukrainian soldiers have found refuge in those places. Now, the attitude, the behavior, and the actions of the Hamas are totally different from all of this. They have the manner in which they have slit the throats of babies, of children, the way they have violated women, displayed them, and the sort of disrespect that they have shown. I don't think in these 18 months of the war in Ukraine that we have seen such barbarity that has been committed by the Hamas. And it is premeditated. It is not as if they have been preparing for it for many months. They've been preparing for it possibly for years. They have created those tunnels through which they are coming, through which they are going and attacking these people. So I think this can definitely not be compared. The last point, Abhishek, if you permit, I'll say is that, what the Modi government has done, because we were talking about the position of the Indian government, what the Modi government has done is that it has dehyphenated its relations with Israel and with Palestine. Both of these relationships are very important, and we give full importance, significance to both these relations. As far as Palestine is concerned, we advocate a two-state solution. As far as Israel is concerned, as you said very rightly, that's a very important defense partner, and it's also a very important economic partner for India. So I think that relationship is also to be preserved. But in the current context, it is the issue of terrorism that is come to the fore, and on which Indian government has taken a very clear position. Abhishek.
Yes, and Ashutosh Mishra, if I really extend the argument that Nikhil was trying to push, and it's really unfortunate that Nikhil did that, by that logic, when Kasab carried out that terror attack in Mumbai, should we have bothered at that moment to talk about the core issue, which according to Kasab was Kashmir? I mean, is that the argument we are really pushing now? Are we going to discuss core issue in a situation where thousands of your citizens have been killed? 1,000 plus citizens killed?
So the core issue today is human rights, whether it be in Israel, where a terrorist organization killed innocent civilians, or in Gaza, where now a bully state is killing Palestinians in the name of taking revenge against Hamas. It's a question of human rights. Two wrongs don't make a right. And as far as this, what you say is balancing is concerned, I think today a prime minister from the right-wing party in India is standing with a bully in Israel because their agendas gel. And the agenda is local politics of communal divide and subversion of democratic ethos in both the countries. They don't give a damn about their democracy.
You mean to say Hamas is democratic?
They are united.
You mean to say Hamas is democratic?
About this.
I mean, what's the argument really, Ashutosh Mishra? Are you suggesting that Hamas is democratic?
Nobody stands with Hamas, and the only thing today is that Hamas is being used as a cloak to hide the sort of hatred that Israel has towards Palestinians. The bullying. There are even Jews around the world who are saying they are not Zionists.
Hamas has love. Just like Hamas is mohabbat ki dukaan, according to you, right?
Nobody
are you getting into comic zone, Ashutosh Mishra? You're saying Israel is hatred, and are you suggesting that
the US has criticized?
Are you suggesting Hamas is mohabbat ki dukaan then?
When the US has criticized Israel for trying to retroactively submerge or take over Palestinian land, and even US has criticized them. So let's not say that Israel is some sort of saint. The government there has been doing things which should not be done by any government that cares about normal civil human rights as given in UN Charter. UN has criticized them. So today for us to give a clean sheet to Israel would be unfair. Hamas is wrong. Hamas is not its action is condemned by everyone, but Israel's action cannot be condoned by anyone who cares about human rights and democracy.
I think the larger question is, UN has criticized India's position on Kashmir also. Does that mean India's position on Kashmir becomes weak, or should we believe it? Because you are all, the supporters of the Congress party seem to be trying to push this thing that, ultimately the core issue has to be solved. Ultimately, it's about Palestine. It's not about those babies beheaded. It's not about those children killed. It's not about these women raped. It's not about those, indisposed elderly who were shot dead in their bed in these kibbutz. I think the issue is, let's get into this core issue also. You are saying the Palestinians, or suggesting that Palestinians have a right on this land. Now, before the Palestinians, it was a British controlled territory. Okay, British were interlopers or usurpers. British took it from Ottomans. Before Ottomans, who was there? The Jews, the Arabs, the Jews, the Arabs. We are going back to millennia. And by the way, by that logic, which came first? The Old Testament or the Quran? I mean, are we really going into that, Nikhil Jain? Is that the logic which is being extended?
First of all, Abhishek, I would like to place it on record that your team
and
has
if not,
putting a banner.
If not, then just be clear that this moment is just about making sure that Hamas pays the price, and no equivocation, no monkey balancing.
Abhishek, first of all, I'd like to make it very clear that your team has been putting the banner condemns Israel only. That is not what I am doing. I am condemning the attack by Hamas. I am not condemning Israel at this point of time. I have been supporting the people of Palestine. I am condemning Hamas. I am not condemning Israel. So that is point number one. Point number two, when you raised the Jawaharlal Nehru issue that in 1949 he said such and such to Albert Einstein, The point that I was trying to make was that this is exactly what countries do. This is what India did under Congress regimes. This is what India did under BJP regime. And as recently as Russia and Ukraine, I never said that Hamas can be conflated with the Russian state. It is a terrorist organization. Russia is a country, perfectly all right. What I said was that yes, this attack is a lot more barbarian than what Russia did in Ukraine. But Russia also killed a lot of civilians. They bombed hospitals, whatever they may have said.
And now you
the international
yourself.
community knows that. No, I'm not correcting myself. You never let me make my point, interject in the middle, then go to another panelist, get them to say something. That's not how it is. At least let me make my point. My point was very simple. You can turn around the videos and see that Hamas's attack on Israel is a violation of human rights, just the way Russia's attack on Ukraine was a violation of human rights. Yes, the scale of one thing is more than the other. The current attack is more barbarian. Nobody can deny that. But India took a balanced, neutral approach between Russia and Ukraine. We continue to buy cheap oil from Russia and trade from Russia despite international sanctions because nations are selfish. That is what Jawaharlal Nehru said 75 years ago. That is what Narendra Modi is practicing today. And that is what the Indian foreign policy has been. And that is what the foreign policy of most countries is. There is nothing wrong with it. Countries have to preserve their own self-interest. If the Communist Party is iterating that line that Palestine, the people of Palestine have their own right, at the same time condemning the violent terror attacks, what is the problem? I don't quite understand. Have they ever said that what is happening in Israel is right? Have they ever said that Hamas is a group that that needs to be recognized as a government or something like that? They have not. Then why is the problem? Have they even countered the stand of the Modi government? In fact, the bigger question that you need to raise as a very responsible journalist that you are, that why is the BJP's spokespersons, I'll not talk about the government of India, but BJP spokespersons and so many people in the BJP cabal are lining up to stand with Israel today, but they never lined up to stand with the people of Palestine when Israel was carrying out bombings of civilians. For the simple reason that they are trying to use a foreign international war situation to their communal narrative. That is the problem that India needs to care about. And don't compare it with the...
RP Singh, you are communalizing an international situation to your advantage. That's the charge coming in from the Congress party. RP Singh, respond.
Well, what are they doing? They are trying to balance out between the victim and the perpetrators, people who are doing the terror act and the victims now.
No, as of now, a specific charge is being made against you, RP Singh, that you are communalizing the situation.
Can I? So, Prime Minister Modi has gone to Palestine himself and has said that Palestine has all the rights, and then said Israel has to give the rights to the Palestine also. I mean, that's on record. But fact is that they have nothing to do with Palestine. For them, it's just a vote bank politics. It's not we are communalizing; they are communalizing it, and not a word of killing in the CWC resolution of Hamas, not a word of condemnation of Hamas. And again I am saying, Gaza Strip is not Hamas, not Palestine. I mean, it's the West Bank which is managed by the Palestinian Authority. Gaza Strip has been hijacked by the Hamas, and then that's how they are using that place to bomb some like 7,000 rockets. So if they are using that place to rocket a nation, then that nation has all the right to defend itself. And which part of the Palestine which was given as a land for peace by then Prime Minister, and then he did learn from our mistake. We did the same in 1947 when we gave land for peace for Pakistan as Pakistan, and Pakistan, and we are still suffering Pakistan, and so is Israel suffering the Gaza Strip, because they give it as the then Prime Minister Ariel Sharon gave it as a land for peace. So we have to understand that you can't compare people who are the victims and who are inflicting the wounds. So they have to distinguish between the two. They are not doing so, and for a reason. The reason is very clear. They are eyeing for the vote bank politics in forthcoming elections. And as I said, Muslims in India at large are against any sort of terror activities. They stand against any sort of terror activities or terrorism anywhere. And also in G20, all these countries have signed resolution on para number 70 to 73 is categorically mentioned that we will stand against terrorism by all means.
Reyes. Okay, now, Nikhil, since you mentioned that the BJP is communalizing and that the BJP leaders are not talking about Palestine or have not spoken in favor of Palestine, just to remind you and the viewers as well, Ashutosh Mishra, just to jog your memory, Prime Minister Modi was given the highest civilian honor of Palestine, I believe in the year 2018. As also by Jordan, as also by Egypt, as also by Saudi Arabia, as also by the UAE, as also by Oman, as also by Bahrain. All these Arab nations, Gulf nations, Muslim nations have given their highest civilian honor to Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India. Now you are saying that the BJP is communalizing. BJP does not talk about Palestine. If these nations and Palestine had not seen the even-handedness of Narendra Modi, Ashutosh Mishra, they would not have given these highest honors to him. Please understand, you are on quicksand on this.
So you have to understand, Abhishek, that these nations are also very clever salesmen. They know what Narendra Modi likes. As Advani ji call him a great event manager, he likes events which he can tom on his social media.
So is Palestine.
Eyeing the
Narendra
Indian
Modi
market,
is going to manage events in Palestine?
the Indian market.
I mean, what's the argument really?
Palestine,
Ashutosh,
what he is trying to say.
US. It's just like US, which
That Palestine has some interest with us, commercial interest with us.
To Narendra Modi, the person, but will allow him in US and
for your
him
hatred
when
against
he is the Indian
Prime Minister Modi,
that is
how
the
far you
fact
can
of
go,
the matter.
Ashutosh?
It's not Narendra Modi, the person whom they fit. It's because they need India, they fit the Indian Prime Minister. So let's not confuse the issues. I mean, you know very well why Arabs, they want our business.
Are you even making
they want
sense?
to invest in India, and that's what they want you to be on the right side.
Are you even making sense?
It is. Let's talk about Israel.
Are you even making sense? And I would actually extend the argument. Let me stretch your argument.
Modi in past cannot absolve Modi of his present crimes, where he has overlooked the same Palestinian people.
What is crime?
Who had given him the highest award.
What is crime?
2018. How can
crime?
You overlook because if you blindly say that we stand only with Israel, today you should also say that Israel should protect what has UN said, that human rights laws are being violated, international human rights laws are being violated in Gaza.
Listen, Ashutosh Mishra.
Said that they should not happen.
Listen, Ashutosh Mishra.
That's what duplicity.
Listen, Ashutosh Mishra, if having the business gene in you, if being from the trading class or trading community buys you peace, if being a salesman buys you peace, I would rather be a salesman and event manager and buy peace than indulge in this cowardly, dastardly, brutal, against the humanity terror attack, and you should be knowing that. But I want to give the last word to Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar on this. By Israel also. I concede. By Israel also. But as of now, Hamas has to be punished. But Ambassador Sajjanhar, Jordan keeps a controlled border with West Bank. It's not an open border. Egypt actually seals its border with the Gaza Strip, from where Hamas operates, and only humanitarian aid is allowed. These are Muslim nations, Arab nations. They are connected by the gene with the people in Gaza Strip. And yet they follow this very strict control system at their borders. So it's not that the Palestinians, in fact, just not Hamas, but even Palestinians are so loved by the Arabs. And if the Modi government and Prime Minister Modi understood the dynamics of the Gulf and has evolved India's foreign policy in line with India's objectives, I believe everyone in the nation should be one in terms of supporting it. Ambassador Sajjanhar.
No, you're very right, Abhishek. I think in all these things, timing is very important. Context is very important. You know, when you're having a debate in the United Nations, of course, you speak about the rights of the Palestinians, the two-nation principle, and how, you know, it needs to be done, what Israel needs to be. And India has been very scathing. India has been very critical in the United Nations, where the fora is there, where the platform is there, to criticize Israel. And we have always stood with Palestine, even in the past, even in the debate that took place in the United Nations in December, we stood firmly with Palestine. But here, Abhishek, the context is very, very different. The context is of a very brutal, heinous, unspeakable terrorist attack that has taken place. And, you know, you can't mix your words and be cautious and be guarded and try to be, you know, as I think the expression you used, monkey balancing, as far as, you know, your response is concerned. You have to be very clear, you have to be very categorical, and you have to be very focused on the issue that you are discussing. And I think that is what the Indian government has done. Otherwise, you know, when any attack takes place here, if we also sort of, you know, we are looking for support from outside, and if our friends were to behave like this, that yes, this is a problem, but then there are other problems, we need to go to the root causes, that is not something that we are going to appreciate. So I think here also, as far as Israel is concerned, it is a very strong partner.
But timing should not be confused with opportunism.
Oh, it is not. Timing is...
so this is not opportunism. Ashutosh Mishra, unfortunately, I've run out of time. This is no opportunism. I think Prime Minister very intelligently, with a lot of wisdom and foresight, ended the hypocrisy of India's foreign policy on Israel. And Shiv Shankar Menon, the National Security Advisor of the UPA 2 government, has in fact put paid to the hypocrisy of the Congress party when it comes to the Palestine-Israel issue. And I think Israel is doing what should be done at this moment, which is to make sure that the perpetrators of terror, the Hamas, pays a price which makes them believe or realize that they are not going to get away with it anytime any longer. On that note, thank you so much, friends, all my panelists for joining us, Ashutosh Mishra, Nikhil Jain, Sardar R.P. Singh, and Ambassador Ashok Sajjanar. A short break, and on the other side, Arnab Goswami is back with the debate.
In the India Today Best Universities 2023 survey, released recently, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School, Bengaluru.
The massive destruction that has taken place here in the central Tel Aviv. All the residentials, they have been asked to vacate this area. No one is inside.
Republic is with the Israeli forces. Israeli forces was clearly mentioned. They are going to retaliate and they are completely ready now, as we can see.
Hamas target of significant value that has been neutralized over the last 24 hours.
There have been several. We've been able to neutralize several launching sites from where they've been launching rockets, weapons caches where they store rockets and other types of weapons.
have been in the central of Tel Aviv, and where we can show you the visuals. It's one of the building which was destroyed. There was a missile from the airstrike from the south, which has hit the destructions all over the place here, and the place was evacuated right after the missile airstrike.
Right now we are at a place that has been declared as a war zone. So the entire country is at war with the terrorists of Hamas, and right now we are in the center of Tel Aviv. This is one of the residential buildings that has been hit from the south. The destruction is visible. All the residentials, they have been asked to vacate this area. No one is inside. Now the intensified operations are on, and what exactly is being done is a multi-front war being imposed on the Israel. But what Israel is saying that we are capable enough to tackle both the attempts that are being made by and will decimate the Hamas as well as the attempts of the Hezbollah.
देश सर्वप्रथम इसलिए है कि देश है तो हम हैं, देश नहीं रहेगा तो हम कुछ नहीं रहेंगे। भारत है तो भारतवासी है, इसलिए भारत हमेशा सबसे आगे। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।